Hello, I'm Debbie Russ with the BBC News. The leader of the Palestinian Authority, Mahmoud Abbas, has visited Israel for what's thought to be the first time in a decade to meet the Israeli Defence Minister Benny Gantz. Mr Gantz said he'd emphasised the importance of security cooperation. Steve Jackson reports.
The 2.5-hour meeting between the two men took place in Benny Gantz's home in Rosh Hain near Tel Aviv. A senior Palestinian official said they discussed the importance of creating a climate that could lead to a political solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Mr Abbas and his host also talked about tensions in the West Bank surrounding Israeli settlements and other security, economic and humanitarian issues. This was not their first meeting. They held talks in the West Bank in August. Nor does it signal any kind of breakthrough in relations. But it does show that two of the key figures in the conflict think talks are still worth pursuing.
The United States has reported its highest ever number of new daily COVID cases, with nearly 450,000 on Monday. The latest figure is mirrored by soaring numbers across Europe, as many countries struggle to contain the Omicron variant. France, Italy, Greece, Portugal and England have also reported record highs. Research in South Africa suggests that infection with Omicron could provide enhanced protection against the Delta mutation, especially for people who are already vaccinated. The study involved 33 people, both vaccinated and unvaccinated, who were infected with the Omicron variant. Warren Bull reports.
Scientists at the Africa Health Research Institute found, as expected, that the antibody response to Omicron rose by a factor of 14 within 2 weeks of infection with the variant. But they were surprised to find that there was also a fourfold increase in neutralisation of the Delta strain. They concluded that there's a reduced likelihood of Delta reinfecting any individuals who've had Omicron. The lead researcher said that if Omicron was a less severe strain than Delta, as other studies have found, then it should have the effect of pushing Delta out and lowering the severity of the pandemic overall.
The parents of a 14-year-old girl who was accidentally shot dead by a Los Angeles police officer while shopping have demanded justice. Valentina Orellana Peralta was struck by a bullet when the officer opened fire on a suspect who was attacking a woman. Audio-video footage from several officers' body cameras showed how they arrived at the scene with guns drawn before one officer fired 3 shots at the attacker. The lawyer for Valentina's family, Benjamin Crump, criticised the police actions.
We should not have to sacrifice innocent life in the name of safety when it was foreseeable that 2 days before Christmas that there were going to be people in a shopping plaza shopping.
BBC News. The jury in the sex trafficking trial of the British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell have finished their 4th day of deliberations without reaching a verdict. They say they are making progress. Earlier, the judge had extended the sitting by an hour because of rising COVID cases in New York. There's been widespread criticism of the decision by Russia's Supreme Court to close the human rights organisation Memorial International. The group was set up more than 30 years ago to document abuses committed under communist rule. It was shut down for violating the law on those considered foreign agents. Grant Verrett reports.
The United States and its allies have been swift and unstinting in their condemnation of the court ruling in Moscow. The US ambassador said the banning of Memorial was a blatant attempt not only to suppress freedom of expression, but also to erase history. The French foreign minister described the ruling as deeply worrying. Germany said it was incomprehensible. Memorial was set up 3 decades ago by, among others, the Nobel laureate Andrei Sakharov to document abuses committed under communist rule in the Soviet Union.
The Bolivian armed forces have airlifted a family to safety after they were found stranded by floodwater and surrounded by large crocodiles. An official said the group of 5 got into trouble after they left their flooded home by canoe in the hard-hit Santa Cruz region. At least 15 people have died in the floods, and in some areas officials said almost all crops had been wiped out. A conservation team in the US state of Virginia has opened a copper box filled with artefacts that was deliberately buried 130 years ago. The time capsule had been embedded in the stone pedestal of a statue of the Civil War-era Confederate General Robert E. Lee. Items inside included newspaper articles, coins, books, buttons and ammunition from the American Civil War. BBC News.